Most men are not using social media. Social media is using them. They think they are relaxing. They think they are learning. They think they are staying informed. But every scroll teaches the machine what they envy, what they fear, what they desire, what makes them insecure, what makes them angry, and what can hold their attention for 5 more minutes. The average man scrolls to escape his life. The strategic man scrolls like a spy. He does not ask, "Do I like this?" He asks, "Why did this stop me?" Because the new rich do not need to own factories first. They own attention. And this is not motivation. This is not theory. This is a measurable transfer of power. In May 2025, Nielsen reported that streaming reached 44.8% of total television usage in the United States, surpassing broadcast and cable combined for the first time. Reuters reported the same milestone and noted that YouTube alone accounted for 12.5% of all television viewing that month. That is not a media statistic. That is the throne moving. The old world told men that power belonged to those who owned land, factories, machines, and buildings. And for a long time that was true. If you controlled production, you controlled wealth. If you controlled the railroad, the warehouse, the newspaper, the television channel, or the store shelf, you controlled access. But the modern world changed the gate. The gate is no longer only the factory. The gate is attention. Because before someone buys, he must notice. Before he trusts, he must listen. Before he follows, he must feel that you understand something about his life that others do not. Before money moves, attention moves first. This is the hidden mechanism most men never see. They think attention is entertainment. They think followers are vanity. They think content is a distraction. And for weak men, it is. For undisciplined men, it becomes poison. For men without purpose, the feed becomes a casino of emotion. It gives them outrage, envy, fantasy, lust, comparison, and false urgency. But for a strategic man, attention is not entertainment. Attention is distribution. Distribution creates influence. Influence creates money. Money creates optionality. Optionality creates power. And power belongs to the man who sees the chain before the crowd sees the result. The weak consume attention. The strategic package it. The fool asks, "How do I get more likes?" The strategist asks, "Where is human focus moving? Who already controls it? What desire is being served? What pain is being monetized? And where is the gap?" That gap is where power begins. Look at the creator economy. Brands are moving money into creators because attention has moved online. A company may have the product, the budget, and the ambition, but if nobody trusts them, they are invisible. Meanwhile, a creator may have trust, attention, and influence, but may not know how to monetize it properly. Between those two sides stands a new kind of operator. The man who understands access. Brand deal flipping is not just selling sponsorships. It is standing between desire and access. The brand desires trust. The creator has access to trust. The middleman understands both sides and connects them. He does not own the product. He does not own the audience. He owns the relationship between attention and money. That is the modern toll gate. The same thing is happening with local businesses, gyms, coaches, consultants, restaurants, personal brands, and service providers. Many of them have real value, but no visibility. They know how to deliver, but they do not know how to capture focus. They know their craft, but they do not know hooks, retention, positioning, short-form strategy, or audience psychology. So they remain skilled and unseen. Another man studies attention and becomes useful to them. He walks into the gym and sees more than equipment. He sees transformations that are not being packaged. He sees members with stories. He sees before and after moments. He sees objections. He sees fears. He sees pride. He sees the content engine hidden inside the business. The owner sees a gym. The strategist sees attention assets. That is the difference. One man sees reality as it appears. The other sees reality as it can be leveraged. And if you are ambitious but unsupported, this matters more than you think. Because maybe you were not born into the right family. Maybe nobody gave you a network. Maybe your friends doubt you because your ambition makes them uncomfortable. Maybe your family does not understand why you refuse to live the same tired life. Maybe society ignores you because you have not become undeniable yet. Good. Then stop begging to be discovered. Build distribution. If you have no network, attention can become your network. If you have no permission, attention can create permission. If nobody opens the door, attention makes people come to your door. But only if you stop treating the internet like a place to escape and start treating it like a battlefield of human focus. The algorithm is not your friend, but it can become your map. It shows you what people cannot stop watching. It shows you what desire looks like in public. It shows you what pain repeats across millions of people. It shows you what language spreads, what identities form, what enemies people gather around, what dreams they are ashamed to admit, and what fears they need someone else to name. Most men waste this information. They scroll through human nature every day and learn nothing. They see envy and call it entertainment. They see desire and call it trends. They see fear and call it comments. They see status games and call it drama. They are walking through a gold mine with their eyes closed. But the strategic man watches differently. He sees a video go viral and does not worship the creator. He studies the first sentence. He studies the promise. He studies the tension. He studies the pacing. He studies the comments. He asks, what identity is this content giving the viewer? What pain is it naming? What enemy is it attacking? What belief is it replacing? Because attention does not gather randomly. Attention gathers around pressure. Pain creates attention. Desire creates attention. Conflict creates attention. Identity creates attention. A man who understands this stops asking childish questions. He no longer asks, why does this person get views? He asks, what psychological contract did this person create with the audience? That is where the real game begins. Because attention without understanding is just noise. And this is where many men fail. They finally realize attention matters. Then they chase visibility like beggars chasing applause. They want followers, views, likes, and comments. They want the feeling of being seen. But visibility without positioning is not power. It is exposure. A man can go viral and still remain broke. A man can have followers and still have no leverage. A man can be known and still not be respected. Because attention only becomes power when it is attached to positioning. Positioning tells people why you matter. Positioning tells the market what box to put you in. Positioning tells a viewer, this man is not just making content. This man represents something I want to become, understand, or possess. Without positioning, you become another face in the feed. With positioning, you become a signal. And men follow signals because signals reduce confusion. A gym owner with attention does not beg for leads. He becomes the obvious authority in his area. A coach with attention does not chase every prospect. He makes prospects feel that not working with him is the costlier decision. A short-form strategist who understands hooks and retention does not beg for opportunity. He can look at a business and show exactly where attention is leaking. That is leverage, not fame, leverage. And if you are serious about changing your position, understand this clearly. You may be watching a lot, You may be consuming videos about discipline, money, psychology, business, and power. But if you keep watching without converting what you learn into action, you are still trapped inside the machine. You are more informed, but not more dangerous. Inside Patreon, I go deeper into the unfiltered systems behind power, attention, discipline, and psychological leverage. Not surface lessons, not comfortable motivation. The material built for men who are done being spectators. If you keep consuming without building, another year will pass and you will call it research. The decision is yours. The next time you open social media, do not open it as prey. Open it as a spy. Look at the first video that stops you. Do not judge it. Dissect it. What was the first line? What fear did it touch? What desire did it awaken? What promise did it make? What tension did it create? What identity did it offer? Then look at the comments. The comments are not noise. They are market research written by emotion. People reveal what they want, what they hate, what they misunderstand, what they are ashamed of, and what they wish someone would say for them. The creator posts the bait. The audience reveals the hunger. And the man who studies hunger learns where opportunity is forming before others see it. That is why attention is no longer just a media game. It is a power game. Because the world does not reward the man who merely has value. It rewards the man who can make value visible, trusted, and desired. Many men hate this because it feels unfair. They say, why should I have to market myself? Because hidden strength does not command the world. Unseen value does not move markets. Silent competence is noble, but nobility without distribution often dies in obscurity. This does not mean you become fake. It means you become legible. It means you learn how to present truth in a form that can travel. It means you stop expecting the world to discover your depth by accident. Power has never belonged only to the capable. It belongs to the capable who understand perception. The world does not first respond to what you are. It responds to what it can perceive. And perception is shaped through attention. So the deeper question is not, should I create content? The deeper question is, can I afford to remain invisible in a world where attention decides who gets trusted first? That question should disturb you, because if attention is distribution, and distribution creates opportunity, then every day you consume without studying, you are not just wasting time. You are training yourself to remain beneath men who understand the machine better than you do. The man who does not understand attention is forced to compete late. He enters the market after desire has already been shaped. He arrives after trust has already been assigned. He tries to sell after another man has already educated the audience, framed the problem, named the enemy, and positioned himself as the solution. Then he wonders why nobody listens. It is not because he has no value. It is because he entered the mind too late. This is the cold truth. Money is not always won at the moment of purchase. It is often won long before purchase, when attention is captured, belief is shaped, and desire is directed. The man who controls attention controls the conversation before the transaction ever appears. That is why the new rich study distribution. They study media. They study behavior. They study what holds focus. They study why certain messages spread and others die. They know that a man who owns attention can create markets, revive dead offers, reposition ordinary products, and make people desire what they previously ignored. The factory produces the thing. Attention produces the demand. And demand is where power begins. A product without attention is inventory. A skill without attention is hidden labor. Attention is silence. A man without attention is often forced to wait for permission from people less capable than him, but more visible than him. This is why attention is so dangerous. It does not only create money, it changes who gets believed. It changes who gets invited. It changes who gets copied. It changes who gets followed. It changes who gets followed. It changes who becomes the standard. The modern hierarchy is not only built by competence, it is built by perceived competence. And perceived competence is created when real competence is made visible, repeated, framed, and trusted. Most men are offended by this because they were trained to believe that being good should be enough. It is not enough. Being good is the foundation. But in a noisy world, the foundation underground does not move anyone. It must be brought to the surface. It must be shaped into signals. It must be made impossible to ignore. This is where the strategic man separates himself from the emotional man. The emotional man says, "I should not have to prove myself." The strategic man says, "Reality does not care what I should have to do." Reality rewards what creates movement. Machiavelli understood this long before algorithms existed. He wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." That sentence is not a decoration. It is a weapon. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Meaning, the world does not interact first with your depth. It interacts with your signal, your appearance, your framing, your reputation, your visible behavior, your repeated message, your ability to occupy space in the mind. If you are deep but unreadable, you lose. If you are valuable but invisible, you lose. If you are disciplined but silent, you may become strong, but you will not automatically become influential. This is not an argument to become fake. It is an argument to stop being naive. The answer is not to perform a false identity. The answer is to make your real value visible with precision. That requires a new operating principle. Do not consume attention. Study attention. Do not chase attention. Package attention. Do not worship creators. Dissect mechanisms. Do not envy visibility. Understand the machine that creates it. Because once you understand the machine, the feed becomes different. You stop seeing random videos. You start seeing hooks, loops, tension, payoff, identity, positioning, offers, comments, desires, objections, and patterns. A man scrolling without awareness sees content. A man scrolling strategically sees human nature in motion. He sees that people do not share information only because it is true. They share what makes them look intelligent, bold, wounded, superior, loyal, rebellious, or transformed. He sees that people do not follow creators only for advice. They follow them for identity. A good creator does not just say, "Here is what to do." He says, "Here is who you are if you see the world this way." He sees that the strongest content gives the viewer an enemy. Weakness, laziness, the system, the old self, the naive belief, the fake friend, the comfortable lie, the crowd, the past identity. Then it offers a replacement identity. You are not confused, you are untrained, you are not unsupported, you are being forced to become self-generated, you are not late, you are finally seeing the board. That is why certain messages hit harder than others. They do not merely explain, they reorganize the viewer's self-image. This is the difference between information and power. Information tells a man something. Power changes how he sees himself. And when a man sees himself differently, he behaves differently. That is why attention tied to identity is stronger than attention tied to curiosity alone. Curiosity may earn a click. Identity earns loyalty. This is what the new rich understand. The creator economy is not about dancing for strangers. It is not about begging for likes. It is not about becoming famous for the sake of being famous. At the highest level, the creator economy is about access to human focus. And access to human focus can be converted into trust, offers, communities, partnerships, products, services, deals, and influence. A local gym can use attention to become the dominant fitness authority in its city. A coach can use attention to educate the market before the sales call ever happens. A consultant can use attention to make his method feel obvious before the prospect meets him. A short-form strategist can help a business turn one boring service into 100 pieces of content by extracting pain points, objections, transformations, stories, proof, and desire. A creator can use attention to negotiate with brands. A middleman can stand between brands and creators. A media operator can build pages, channels, newsletters, communities, and distribution assets that do not require permission from traditional gatekeepers. None of this requires fame first. It requires perception. It requires pattern recognition. It requires understanding what people already care about and positioning yourself where value meets attention. But here is the trap. The moment a man hears this, his ego says, "I should start posting." Maybe. But posting without studying is gambling. Creating without positioning is noise. Trying to monetize without trust is desperation. Before you publish, you must learn to see. This is why you need the attention spy protocol. For 7 days, you do not scroll like a consumer. You scroll like an intelligence officer. You choose one market: fitness, dating, money, discipline, local business, masculinity, productivity, coaching, real estate, any market where desire, pain, and transformation exist. Then each day you study 10 pieces of content that made you stop. Not content you liked, content that stopped you. There is a difference. Your taste is not the point. Your reaction is the data. For each piece, write 5 things. First, the opening line. What sentence interrupted the viewer's pattern? Did it attack an illusion? Did it make a bold claim? Did it expose a hidden enemy? Did it create fear of missing out? Did it name a private pain? Second, the open loop. What unanswered question forced attention forward? Was the viewer waiting for a secret, a mistake, a transformation, a warning, a mechanism, a proof? Third, the stakes. What would the viewer lose if he ignored the message? Money, status, time, respect, self-command, opportunity, attraction, freedom, clarity, identity. If there are no stakes, there is no pressure. If there is no pressure, attention leaks. Fourth, the payoff. What did the content actually give? A tactic, a belief shift, a framework, a warning, a story, a proof, a new way to see the problem. Weak content creates curiosity and gives nothing. Strong content creates curiosity, builds pressure, and delivers a sharper operating principle. Fifth, the identity being sold. Who does the viewer become by agreeing with the content? Smarter than the crowd, more disciplined than his old self, more dangerous than his competition, more aware than the naive, more independent than the dependent, more strategic than the emotional. This is the hidden layer. Every powerful piece of content sells an identity, even when it looks like advice, especially when it looks like advice. After 7 days, you will no longer see the feed the same way. You will see patterns everywhere. You will notice that most viral content is not random genius. It is structured pressure, a painful truth, a clear enemy, a strong promise, a delayed answer, a specific payoff, a sharper identity. Then you begin the second step. You rewrite. Take one viral hook from your market and rewrite it for a different audience. Take one creator's structure and apply it to a local business. Take one emotional comment and turn it into a video idea. Take one repeated objection and turn it into an educational post. Take one transformation story and turn it into a positioning angle. This is how you stop being a consumer. You convert observation into assets. And this is where the unsupported man begins to gain ground. Because he may not have connections, but he can study. He may not have capital, but he can observe. He may not have status, but he can build signal. He may not be respected yet, but he can become undeniable through repeated proof. The man waiting for support stays weak. The man who studies systems becomes dangerous. If you are serious, understand this. You are probably not lacking information. You are lacking conversion. You watch, but you do not extract. You learn, but you do not build. You feel inspired, but you do not create leverage. That is the disease of the modern ambitious man. He is surrounded by knowledge, but starved of execution. He has access to more education than kings once had, yet he still waits for confidence, approval, timing, and emotional certainty. That waiting is killing his future. Inside Patreon, I go deeper into the frameworks that do not belong in public videos. The unfiltered breakdowns of power, persuasion, attention, dominance, psychology, self-command, and the hidden architecture behind influence. If you are serious, and you know you have been watching too much while building too little, then understand the cost. If you continue consuming without becoming sharper, you are volunteering to remain a spectator in another man's empire. Inside Patreon, the work is direct, the illusions are stripped, the systems are studied, the decision is yours. Now return to the larger principle. He who controls attention controls opportunity before anyone else sees it forming. This is not because attention is magic. It is because attention comes before trust, and trust comes before movement. Before a man buys, he must believe. Before he believes, he must listen. Before he listens, he must stop. Attention is the stop. Everything begins there. If you cannot stop people, you cannot lead them. If you cannot hold them, you cannot teach them. If you cannot teach them, you cannot shape their belief. If you cannot shape belief, you cannot create demand. And if you cannot create demand, you are forced to wait for demand that someone else created. That is why consumers are always late. They arrive after the market has been formed. They buy after desire has been manufactured. They repeat phrases after creators have planted them. They join movements after others have defined the enemy. They chase opportunities after the invisible architects have already taken position. The strategic man moves earlier. He watches where attention is flowing. He studies what pains are intensifying. He notices what identities are forming. He sees where institutions are losing trust and where individuals are gaining it. He sees which old gatekeepers are weakening and which new gatekeepers are rising. Then he places himself near the current before the crowd calls it obvious. That is strategy. Not luck. Not hype. Strategy. The average man wants certainty before he moves, but certainty is expensive. By the time certainty arrives, the advantage is gone. The strategic man does not wait for certainty. He studies signals. He accepts calculated risk. He moves while others are still debating whether the shift is real. When YouTube becomes a larger share of television viewing, that is a signal. When brands move more money into creators, that is a signal. When local businesses begin asking why their ads do not work, that is a signal. When coaches and consultants realize expertise alone does not create demand, that is a signal. When young men trust online figures more than institutions, that is a signal. When attention fragments across platforms, that is a signal. The man who sees signals early builds before the crowd understands. The man who waits for permission becomes the customer. And this is the final identity shift. You are not here to become addicted to the machine. You are not here to perform for strangers. You are not here to beg the algorithm for validation. You are here to understand where power moved. You are here to study the systems that shape desire. You are here to turn abandonment into independence. You are here to stop needing permission from people who never had the vision to see you clearly. The old belief was this: if I work hard enough in silence, the world will notice. The strategic belief is colder. If I build value and learn distribution, the world will be forced to notice. The old belief was this: attention is shallow. The strategic belief is this: attention is dangerous when controlled by shallow men and powerful when controlled by disciplined men. The old belief was this: social media is a distraction. The strategic belief is this: social media is a weapon when studied and a cage when consumed unconsciously. The old belief was this: I need someone to give me a chance. The strategic belief is this: I can create leverage so opportunity has to find me. That is the replacement. That is the new posture. Not needy, not bitter, not invisible, not invisible, not addicted, observant, disciplined, strategic, useful, dangerous. The weak man opens the feed and asks to be entertained. The wounded man opens the feed and asks to be validated. The envious man opens the feed and asks to be distracted from his own delay. But the strategic man opens the feed and studies the empire. He studies why one sentence spreads. He studies why one story converts. He studies why one creator becomes trusted. He studies why one brand feels human and another feels dead. He studies why one man commands attention without begging for it. Then he takes notes. Then he builds. Then he tests. Then he improves. Then he becomes harder to ignore. That is the path. No permission. No applause required. No emotional ceremony. Just study, build, publish, refine, position, and repeat. Because the machine is not going away, attention will keep moving through screens. Brands will keep chasing it. Creators will keep monetizing it. Businesses will keep needing it. Audiences will keep searching for people who can name their pain, sharpen their identity, and show them a path out of confusion. You can complain about it, you can be used by it, or you can study it. The new rich do not only own attention, they understand how to move it. They understand how to attach it to trust. They understand how to convert trust into opportunity. They understand how to turn opportunity into freedom. And freedom is the real prize. Not fame, not likes, not applause. Freedom. The freedom to choose your work. The freedom to create your own access. The freedom to stop begging indifferent people for a seat at their table. The freedom to become so useful, so visible, and so strategically positioned that the market can no longer ignore you. This is what the unsupported man must understand. Nobody is coming to give you permission. Nobody is coming to explain the new game gently. Nobody is coming to reward your hidden potential just because it exists. The world rewards signals, so become one. Make your value visible. Make your thinking sharp. Make your message clear. Make your work undeniable. Study attention until the feed stops controlling you and starts teaching you. Because the man who controls attention controls opportunity before anyone else sees it forming. And the man who sees opportunity early does not need to beg for power. He builds where power is moving.